Hi guys, I'm Amy. I'm 12 Plus's social media intern.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ebony, and I am the Director of Community Engagement and Storytelling at 12 Plus. And this is Discuss the Plus.
Yes.
All right, we have a special guest here with us, and we're going to ask her to introduce ourselves to our live studio audience.
Okay, I'm Destiny. Hi, my name is Destiny Crawford. I'm 12 Plus alumni from 2019 class.
What school did you go to?
Kensington Health Sciences Academy.
And where are you currently attending school at? Or you also can talk about a little bit about wherever you're working at too.
Okay, right now I'm a nanny, and I nanny for, I can't say their name because of confidentially, but I'm a nanny for a family. I do that all week. It's so much fun. And then I'm also a student for CCP, and I'm just living my best extra life.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So like we said before, we just wanted to hear your perspective on some different things that are going on in the world right now. We know that our students bring a particular knowledge to the table that sometimes isn't acknowledged by other people, but we definitely want to make sure that your voice is amplified and how you feel about things is also talked about and in the narratives that are going around. So we'll start it off pretty straightforward. So how do you feel about kind of like the Black Lives Matter movement and things that have been going on within the past few months, maybe just in the media at least, but like has been kind of like transpiring throughout the past couple years and honestly the last 400 years, but we're not going to go there yet.
Well, I mean, it's actually interesting. I have a very strong opinion about this. I'm disappointed, honestly. I'm just disappointed. I'm disappointed in our communities, the people that I'm just angry. I want to say I'm angry. I want to say I'm disappointed. Those are just, I can't think of any positive words to say to this because I feel as though, as far as, police brutality, why is this still an issue? Why is it something that, I have to think about, or, anybody has to think about when they send anybody into the world? Like, that's ridiculous. Like, you should not, like, me getting pulled over is one of the most, like, I should not be afraid to get pulled over by police officer. That should not be something that should be alive in 2020. Only because, come on, like, if you're going to give me a red ticket, I should, get a ticket and go home. I should not have to worry about, oh my God, is this ticket going to lead to me being shot and killed? Like, that's a terrible thought, just ridiculous. And I think that the people who are in charge of making these, and, just where's the accountability? Of course, that's like saying, it's just, oh God, my emotions right now are so, like, whenever someone asks me about this, I get so, like, I just tell them I'm really just in disbelief about it, because I can't believe that it's still an issue in this year that we're in, just because, I don't want to say like college versus high school, but some things that I learned in, being a freshman this year taught me a lot. And, the stuff that was just going on, like, I learned a lot about historic events that happened to the Black community that I just didn't learn about in college in my history class. And, like, some of the stuff they were telling me, I could not believe it. Like, I was like, are you serious? Like, how come this has never been mentioned to me? How come I'm just learning about this? And the fact that a lot of those stories are not too different from the stories that's happening today. And that tells me, as a country, as a city, as a community, that we need to rise. Something needs to happen, something big needs to happen. And I'm not saying go out there and loot and do that, because that's not what needs to happen. But I'm saying, Martin Luther King, his plan worked for a reason. And it worked because it was peaceful, it was respectful, and it gave us, and I think we need to go back to that. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. I mean, and it's also okay to feel those feelings that you're feeling, right? Like, it's okay to be angry. It's definitely okay to be disappointed. And I think, like, I know how you feel, because I've gone through those same emotions. Or, like, I remember I went to a one of my old high school actually hosted they had a documentary that was on kind of like police brutality, but also kind of like where's the love in like the community, right? And they had it with like community members, and they also invited the police to be there, and they also broke out into like small breakout groups. And I was like, just so y'all know, I'm really uncomfortable with the fact that all these police officers are here. One, like I shouldn't have to come in here and my anxiety shouldn't have to go up because there's 3 police officers and 4 or 5 community members. Like I shouldn't have to feel like that. Doesn't seem right. But then also on top of that, the facilitator of like our little breakout group, he didn't have anyone else from the community introduce themselves. He just like acknowledged the police officer. So he was like, this is police officer Gates, and he works for this police department. This is police officer da, da, da. And I'm just like, well, where's the acknowledgement of like the community members? Like I'm already like, my heart is already going because they're here and they got their guns on them and they're like all suited up. And I'm like, well, what's going to happen if we here to talk about peace and we here to talk about love? Why you got loaded on your hip? Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, I shouldn't have to fear that. And you're right, like getting pulled over should not be a death sentence, but like it is when you involve the police sometimes in different things. Like it could literally be like a death threat.
Yes, it's like it's like I just feel like there's already enough things in this world that can kill you, and a police officer shouldn't be one of them. I'm sorry, like there's no way I'm gonna sit here and be like, oh, it's normal to go out. Like I don't care what you tell me. If I get shot by a police officer, I'm gonna have a problem. Like that is not something that's normal. That's not something that you say, oh, it's just another day. Excuse me, no. The police officers, if I give respect, I expect respect. And it's like, just because you got a title, you got a job just like I got a job. And I can't go to my job and, hit the kid and be like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm having a bad day. Just as like an officer can't go and shoot a black person and be like, oh, my bad, I was having a bad day. Like, that's not acceptable. And there's nobody that can convince me in this world that that's ever going to be acceptable. I don't care if he was having it wrong. I don't care if the suspect in your custody was cursing at you and calling you every word in the book. It is your duty. It is your obligation to follow the justice system. There are rules in place, and we have these rules. Somebody's calling you out your name, you add a charge. That's resisting arrest. That's what you get to do. You don't get to shoot them and take their life. I don't get it. You can't say, and then, there are certain people who want to say, oh, well, some of these people, well, they were guilty of the crime they was arrested for. So what? When a rapist gets charged, we don't get to shoot them and say, well, they were guilty of it. No, they're like, it's everybody's innocent until proven guilty. And a cop does not have the right to prove who's innocent and guilty. And that's just how it is. Unless they point a gun at you on your temple, that's when you have the right to do that. But unless, like, come on now, like reaching, because you reach for your registration, what else are you supposed to do? So, it's just stuff like that. Like, one day, me and my friends, right, we were at school, and it was a wild weekend, and the cops were out, and I'm a very safe driver, but I know my thing is I educate myself. I know the law, so I try to put myself in positions as far as like if I was to get pulled over, I want it to go as smoothly as possible. So I try to like make sure that my car is always legit. I got like a thing at the top, and I'm like, it's close enough that the officer can grab it himself because my hands are staying up. Stop playing with me. And the cop pulled us over, and he was like, hey, your brake light is out. And in my head, I'm thinking, and my friends are in the car, and as soon as we got pulled over, I was like, y'all, hands up. Like, I tell everybody, as soon as they get in my car, if we get pulled over, you're to put your hands up and shut up. Like, and that's just how it is. And the officer, he tells me, he's like, your brake light is out. I'm like, okay. He's like, license and registration. I'm like, officer, that's crazy. My license is in my wallet, which is in the school bag in my trunk right now. He's like, okay, well, let's get it out. I'm like, all right. So to get my trunk open, you have to press a button. And Miss Ebony, when I tell you, and I lied to you not, I said, I was like, I'm taking down my hand to press the button to open the trunk. And like, I laugh about it today, but in my head, I'm thinking like, what if I wasn't, what if I wasn't the type of person, to know to do that? Like, that shouldn't be a thing that to announce where your hand is going to obviously do something that's so obvious. So I just feel like there's never, you shouldn't have to go there. And it's just, as a community, some things are just unacceptable. And just like Rosa Parks, like it was unacceptable for her to get in the back of the bus, it's unacceptable for me to get shot by a police officer.
You out here preaching.
Because it's true. Like, everybody want to sit here and say, oh, well, you know, the officer family, well, you know, there's people outside his house giving him death threats. George Floyd was just trying to, you know, buy his mom a birthday gift. So, sorry. Like, it's just, people are like, you don't have to be this angry about it. It's not, it's like, you know, it's just another thing that happened. No, I'm going to be angry about it every time it happens. Mm-hmm. Every single time. I don't, you know, some people try to like, oh, well, you know, this person was doing that when I don't care. Did they end up getting shot by a police officer? Yes. Then it was wrong. And that's like, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, I feel you. So what are earlier you mentioned that there were certain things that you had learned, like about kind of like the black history that had happened that you never, you know, knew before, and these are things that you are seeing now. So what are some of the things that you have learned that you could connect to what we're seeing now from the movement now?
Well, I remember that we were talking about, in history class, we had to talk about, we were doing our Black Lives, our Black, like, history or whatever, and she talked about this event. It was called, I think it was either called the Black Summer or the Red Summer, and it was like about how these three black boys, they had went to the beach, like a normal day. It was a normal day. They just went to the beach to have fun, and while they were out playing in the water, these Caucasian kids decided to throw rocks at them. So they were throwing, like, so eventually, like, they start throwing the rocks at them, and one of the rocks hits one of the black boys in his head, and he dies. And then what really cracked me up about it was just that, you know, when the cops got there, instead of arresting the people who were throwing rocks and killed someone, all because they didn't like what they were doing, which was swimming in the ocean at the beach, they arrested the black guys for saying that they were starting with the white guys. And I tell you, when I heard that story, I kind of was like, I think I got up and left that day. I told my teacher, I said, excuse me, I can't sit here and talk about this right now. And she was like, all right. And then, you know, at the class, she told me, she's like, a lot of people get very angry when they hear that. And I'm like, you know, it connected me to today, because I was like, you know, I go to the beach with my friends all the time. That is something that's just normal to do. And the fact that, you know, it's not like, it's like, first of all, they were breaking the obvious law. You don't throw rocks at people, especially when you hit them in their head. Like, what? I don't even know. And then it's like, for them to be arrested and for them to, you know, get in trouble by the police, that just shows me, like, I know my mom said that it's easy to get in trouble, but hard to get out of. But dang, like, they were just at the beach having fun. And it's like, so many black people are just doing regular things, like regular everyday things, where they wind up getting shot by police. Like, buying your mom a birthday gift, fine.
Taking a run around, jog around your neighborhood.
Yeah, like, that should, like, I see people do that all the time in the neighborhood that I work in, and like, for them, that's just something they do every day. But I'm not going jogging nowhere.
Yeah.
Because I'm not trying to think somebody think I'm robbing anybody.
Yeah.
So it's wild.
Yeah. I think with, like, just to piggyback off of that, it's kind of like we don't get to do normal things without having this other, like, question in our head of, like, is something else going to happen, right? That's even like the example you gave of being pulled over, was like, why do I have to get pulled over and then second guess that something else may happen, or that, like, I may not make it out of this thing, right? Like, there's some people that wake up every day and can, like, live their life without having to think about the aftermath, right? Or like, that if I do this wrong, or if I move my hand wrong on the steering wheel, that could put
my AirPod died, sorry. Or if I ask you to put your dog on where the law and you need to have your dog on a leash, then, like, there isn't going to be the cops called on me. So it's like navigating normal everyday space, but also having back in your head where you're, like, consciously, like, checking if you're okay, or just thinking about how your body is observed and reflected in certain spaces. Yeah. It's not like that for everybody.
And no, it's very funny you say that, actually, because, you know, it's just, you know, I feel like our rights are kind of being infringed on right now too, because, you know, there's been like yesterday, like 2 days ago, earlier this week, I was driving down, right, the freeway, and this guy, I saw him. He was going all crazy. He was switching lanes. He was just going really fast. And I'm thinking in my head, like, yo, I'm gonna get away from this guy because, you know, I don't want him to hit my car, and I don't want to deal with it today. And I lied to you not. As soon as I go to exit the ramp, he smashes the back of my car, just like that. And, like, you know, I'm thinking in my head, like, oh my God, this is gonna be such a thing. Like, the police are gonna come. I'm gonna have to interact with the police. And, you know, my goal of the day is to stay away from, stay as far away as least possible. Like, I say if I don't have a reason to talk to them, then I can be good. Like, if I can go through the day without having to interact with police officers, then it's a good day. And, like, I just thought to this guy, like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to go through and, like, you know, I looked at his car, so we get out to assess the damages, and I look at his car, and I'm like, his car was fancy. Like, he was driving like a 2018 something. You know, I have a 2005 Buick LaCrosse, and, you know, he was obviously Caucasian. So I was like, oh man, this isn't gonna go well. Even though I know in my head that if somebody hits you from the back, they're automatically at fault. I know that in my head, but in the moment, I kind of had like a panic attack, and I'm just like, I'm not thinking about everything that needs to be thought about, really. And, like, you know, he was like, oh, you know, I'm so sorry. You know, it wasn't like obvious damage, and I was physically okay. And, like, in my head, I'm like, you know, I have every right to pursue this and, you know, go upon it. But then I was thinking in my head, no, I don't, because the police are going to come. They're going to take one look at this guy's car, one look at my car, and then they're going to decide in their head who's really wrong. Rather, they're going to, like, he can easily tell them, oh, well, she was brake checking me, and that made me hit her car. And they might just go with him. So, you know, I told the guy, I was like, you know what? You have a good day. And I just got back in my car, and I just went to work. And it wasn't because, you know, I didn't have the proper papers, nothing, because I do. And I completely knew I was right. But it was just the fact of, this can end in a very tragic way, and I'm not prepared for that to happen just yet today. So I just let him walk, and I feel like that's a pro. Like, I should not feel as uncomfortable with the police to let somebody walk off of fit in my car when they were clearly in the wrong. And I think that speaks to just the level of the government, the world, Philadelphia police officers everywhere. So, and I'm hoping, you know, I have people, like, there's gonna be a time where I'm not here, and I just want, there are people in my life who I want them to feel safe. I want it to be safe enough to, you know, get in those type of accidents and to know, like, you're gonna be okay. Like, getting pulled over should be a 5-minute ordeal of your day. Yeah. Like, it's not a death sentence. But there's no way I'm not teaching that to. There's no way I'm not gonna teach that to whoever needs to be taught it. I'm gonna straight be like, listen, like, Black parents, it should not be normal in the Black community for your parents to have a talk with you and be like, hey, if you get stopped by the police, you got to put your hands up and not speak. Like, that should not be a normal conversation you should have with your kids. That's not normal. And that's true. My question to the Black community is, when did we start accepting that? When are we gonna stop accepting it? Because I'm ready. I'm like, I be protesting everything. Except today, I'm not protesting nothing. It's hot out there.
So I was going to ask you that, like, what are some things you are doing during this time to kind of help either?
Well, first thing first, every day.
Involved. What are some things you're doing?
Yeah, every day. First thing first. In the car, I call the Connecticut's mayor's office, and I say the same thing every day. And they put me on hold for 10 minutes every day. But I say the same thing every day, and I say, when are you going to arrest the cops who killed Breonna Taylor? And, like, the mayor, the first time she said, excuse me? Mm-hmm. I said, when are you going to arrest the officer who murdered Breonna Taylor? And they were like, she was like, oh, this is not the line for that. And I said, well, you need to get me the line for that so I can let them know, so they can answer my question, because I won't answer. And, you know, every day they do the same thing. They hang up, and then they act like they're feeling disconnected. But I call again the next morning, because I'm going to keep calling until somebody gets annoyed enough to say, can somebody give this girl an answer so she can stop calling my phone? And the moment they give me the day they give me the answer I want to hear, which is today, or if they already been arrested, then I'll stop calling. But until I hear that, then I'm going to just keep calling. I enjoy it. They got some nice holding music, too. I'll be like,
I think we are all waiting for that answer. I just sent plenty of emails, the same email, back and forth, and, like, just get nothing.
Yeah,
that happened in March.
Exactly.
My birthday, March 13th.
Looking like a 20-year-old.
Bye. Thank you. I'll take that. But the fact that like, that happened so long ago at this point, we don't have any answers. I think one thing that like a lot of folks are tired of, like, I feel like in the past few years, I feel like the movements are kind of like something happens, we get, up in arms about it, we get, whatever, and then like it dies down, right? So I think to answer your question earlier, just like I think that Black folks are at the time where it's like, and all people, and we have people of color that are joining too, that like are finally starting to realize like, okay, like it happens predominantly to Black folks, but it does to Indigenous folks as well, to Asian folks as well, to Spanish speaking folks and Latinx folks as well, right? But I think once we're all tired of like the things that white supremacy and like white privilege has like taken over in this world, like I think we're finally all get on page. It's like, okay, like we need answers. Like we need answers. Like, and it's just not on our platforms, right? There's the NBA. Like I saw someone did I don't know which basketball player it was, but he was doing like a press conference, and every question they would ask him, he was just like, arrest the cops that, that killed Breonna Taylor. And then they would ask him another question, he was just like, arrest the cops that, that killed her, that Breonna Taylor, to every single thing. And like, I don't know at what point where it'll be like, okay, like how loud do we have to be, right? Like when all the protesting and looting was happening, I was like, I'm not 100% mad, like, you know what I'm saying? Like this is the ruckus that needs to happen to kind of like have an earthquake effect, then like so be it. But like now it's like like we were talking earlier, like I feel like this portion of the movement, or this time the wave of the movement, feels a lot different compared to past years.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like, and I want to say I'm extremely proud, and there's not a lot of times I say this, I'm extremely proud of just my generation, my 2019, my 2018, my 2020 graduates even, because I feel like in the past they haven't really like, because I'm part of it, like we haven't really like, we might have reposted something or like, did the hashtag for something, but I feel like, this time with this particular generation, like I've had so many conversations with people that are my age, and like, it's different to have a conversation with your peers and like an older person, because that you expect them to have that point of view, to be angry. But when I'm sitting with a group of my friends and the subject of police brutality and all that comes up, and I see genuine just anger, that's how I know that this movement right here, like, some of my friends, they have kids, they're like, yo, my kid's not growing up in a world like this, they ready to make change. So for this generation specifically, those three generations, like this is the time, like they're actually making moves. Like I see, like some of my friends, like I've gotten a couple, hey, you want to come protest with me today? Hey, the protest is here today. Like we're using the power of our technology, because they like to call it the technology generation, which is fine, we'll take it. But they're taking that power of the generation, that power right here, and be like, hey, we're doing a protest for this today. Hey, this is where this is going to be. And we're communicating so well about what we want. And, we're determined. Like, y'all like to say we hard-hearted. I think this is a very determined generation, because, I know I'm part of it. Like, I feel like once they have their mind set on something, until they get what they want, man, it's going to happen. And that's what I really love about this generation, because, we're not ones to roll over and take really much of anything. And I feel like that's the kind of attitude that we need right now as a community. That's what we need. We need that type of, no, you're not going to shut us up for, you're fine. You arrested them and then let them out on bail. Like, that's not, like, that's us, like my generation, we're saying, no, that's not good enough for us. We want to see a trial. We want them in jail. We want them charged, that whole, it's not good enough, give me more attitude. Maybe that's what the world needs right now. That's what they need. That's what the government needs. They need pressure, because, they're used to saying, all right, well, we'll do this small task to shut them up. And then, we'll go on for a couple months, and then they'll find something else to complain about. And then we'll do that again. And then, but this generation, I feel like in this movement, people are saying, no, that's not enough. You arresting them and then letting them, that is not enough. And it's never going to be enough until they're in jail. And I love it. I'm loving it, and I'm for it.
That's real, girl.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's just the truth. It's really just the truth.
Yeah, no, I think when I think about that, I think of like all the Black Lives Matter like murals that are going on streets, and it's like those are nice. Like I get that. Like those are powerful, but like we want real actionable like things.
Change.
Like you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
actual like change that actually makes a difference, right?
I'm
Because
trying to go to the trial. Like that's what I want to do. Like y'all saying we can't travel, but I'm trying to go to Minnesota. I'm trying to sit in George Floyd's trial, and I'm trying to hear what's going on. Like I'm trying to be in there like it's an episode of Law and Order real quick, and like I'm trying to be in there. I want to hear it. Like come on, give it. I want to hear what the defense attorney has to say.
I'm sure it will be. I'm sure it will be live, but I'm also thinking like that would be like this whole movement right now from like the beginning of it till the trial, and then when the trial ends, it will be like a very powerful history lesson if there are history teachers out there that kind of want to incorporate that into their curriculum. Like I think that would be really cool to kind of go from like the starting point, the things that happened in between, like how they are also historical and also like run parallel to things that you talked about that happened before in history, right? And then like bring it to the trial. Like I think that I
believe that how we had in high school how we had to do, and I remember this because I see why it was so important to Isaacs, why we did this project. Like I see why it was so important to him. But I'm referring, if you're from Kensington, then you know what I'm talking about. He took that his class, and I'm talking about our court cases project where we had to go over and like we had to memorize all these court cases that happened in history and pick out like significant ones that were like significant in history. And I say that I realize why it's important now because I believe that this George Floyd trial, no matter if he gets guilty or non guilty, either way the verdict is going to be historical, because if it's guilty, then it's going to show that we're moving forward in the community. Something is happening. We're getting results. And if it shows not guilty, I think that the African American community, the Black Lives Matter community, all the communities are going to have something. And I don't think it's going to. I think that this is going to be probably the worst verdicts that they could give out. And I think it's going to create a whole nother. If you thought those protests and the looting was bad then, when they just heard about what's going on, please prepare yourself to what's going to happen as soon as they hear a verdict of not guilty. I don't think there's going to be anything peaceful about anything. I think everybody's kind of going to be in agreement. It's like, okay, well, since there's no justice there, there's no justice here. And I don't want it to get like that. And I pray that, as the world, we can find a better way to handle this. But I'm also at a point where I'm like, oh, well, like, I think that'll be the straw that broke the camel's back right there. So I think either way, it's going to be a very historical court case. And I think that Isaac, you need to put that on your little test and, put it there and say like, hey, like, this is something. It's just as important as Presley versus Ferguson, Brown versus Board. It's going to go up as one of those. And I'm so excited for it. Because I'm like, I was there. I can help you.
We're coming up for lessons for Isaac. No, but I do think that there is some power like in your generation. I guess I can no longer say I'm in that anymore, huh?
We all love you though.
But how do you think, like, what are some specific ways you think like your generation is making like a wave of impact? Because like I've seen folks that are even like on TikTok, like young people that are on TikTok making like super informative content that like is in this fun and creative way where I'm just like, oh yeah, I love this song. But then it's just like, arrest the cops to kill Breonna Taylor, and here's 3 reasons why. Boom, boom, boom. And I'm just like, oh, okay. Like, so what do y'all think? Why do you think specifically your generation is kind of like holding on to like this one, using technology, like you said, but like, how are y'all doing it? And why do you think it's kind of why do you think it has such an impact? You know what I'm saying? A larger impact than generations have had in the past.
Because again, it comes back to technology. You set this in like, it's hard. It's very hard, and it's getting hard for the for the higher people, I'm going to say, to keep things under wraps. And, you know, I think my generation, they're very much, I think that there hasn't been a time where, I don't think anybody, a Black person, I've seen like somebody getting pulled over. You don't have to know what they're getting pulled over for. You don't have to know them from a can of paint. You don't have to know them at all. But there's been so many times where people just get out, and I'm gonna say I'm gonna shout my Caucasian people too, because I have a couple, you know, Caucasian friends and close members who, you know, they are also woke, and they're also saying, you know, enough is enough. Like, you know, I seen that hashtag, white people are tired of other people. Yeah, you know, I'm with that too. And like, I seen like somebody always like, I think my generation, they're not afraid. They're not afraid to, you know, pull out their cell phone and be like, I'm recording you. Hello. Like, this is what this, like, I think they're very much like in your face. I'm going to make sure that if you do something wrong, everybody's going to know it. And, you know, that's because, you know, everybody got a smartphone, everybody got an iPhone, you know, whatever. So, you know, they're not afraid to pull up and be like, hey, go ahead, do what you want to do, but I'm going to record it. And, you know, I think cops are starting to realize, you know, it's not something that, you know, oh, I just killed this Black person today, but it's going to stay inside. It's going to stay between me, my partner, and my captain. And because they didn't used to have to worry about the 20 people that were standing by, because, you know, those 20 people saw it, but they only went home and they only told, like, you know, their parents or, you know, their siblings or their family members, but they didn't go and share it to a platform with basically the whole world's population on it. And, like, for millions of people to see it and rewatch it. And I think that, you know, my generation is more like, look what you did. This is what you did. This is you on camera. They're making you, because, you know, I'm sure, you know, that man probably would never looked at that dash cam video or, you know, the video of George Floyd. I don't think he ever would have looked at it twice. But I think, you know, I think he was very forced to look at it and see his actions and see the impact. And, you know, like, be like, listen, like, that's you kneeling on that man's neck again and again and again and again and again, making them into memes and being like, you know, you ever see the little post on Instagram where it's like, so like it starts off with something crazy like, oh my God, 2 for 1 sale, swipe, and then you swipe and it says, arrest the cops who killed George Floyd. Like, your name is like, it's such a high risk now. Your name is everywhere. There's no hiding it no more. And I think, you know, my generation just does a great job of spreading the word, making sure, like, they force the government to look at things that they don't want to look at. I'm sure they did not want that video to go as viral as it did. And I'm sure there are so many videos out there that they don't want to go viral. And I think my generation does such a good job of just, you know, spreading the word. Like, we got, like, for goodness sakes, the Amish was involved. Like, when you get the Amish involved, come on now, you know it's a problem. Y'all know it's a problem. And that's just the magnitude of how loud this generation is screaming, enough is enough.
We just recently revamped our plush shop on our website. So all the pictures are updated and everything looks all nice. So go check it out. Look at our sweaters. We have t-shirts, we have mugs, we got beanies, we got everything, okay? We also have a coupon for y'all. So if you, on your order of $50 or more, you can get free shipping. You can save a couple bucks. That's great. So yeah, go check that out. Christmas is only 5 months away. Only 5 months away. So get a little something for yourself or for your friend or for your family. Yep, check it out.
Okay. Something at first, quarantine was just like, I like quarantine for like 2 weeks. So I was like, oh, I gotta do a week. I can just sleep for a day. But then I was like, oh wow, this is boring. People do this like every day. So what I decided to do was paint rooms, because that's extremely exhausting and it takes up the whole day for sure. So we just been doing like little home projects. We got plants. I'm probably the worst plant keeper ever, but you know, it's a responsibility, and you know, we're keeping up with that. So you know, just making our, yeah. Oh, girl, I'm just really bad at it, but you know, I'm trying. They're still alive right now.
I heard that you have to say like nice things about like thrive and stuff.
I thought you just had to like water them. Like apparently it's a lot of work to keep like a plant alive. Definitely social distancing, because yeah. But one thing, guys, if you really bored and you don't, like, make sure you set a goal. Like I have like get like a $1 one. You can get $1 or $5 one at Five or Below or the dollar store. But it's like a dry erase board, and write like 3 goals that you want to do today. And rather that's just like, sometimes I write clean up my room, sometimes I write to paint the trim, sometimes I write to like do like 10 jumping jacks in place. So like just set yourself some mini positive goals, because wiping them off at the end of the day, like I did that, and I did that. Like that's an awesome feeling. And plus it gives you something to think about during the day instead of just sitting in bed and eating chips. I know, because I'm guilty.
Like that.
So recently I watched Frozen 2, and I like that. I've been like, because at first I was listening to a lot of like current music, but then I was like, oh my god, like this is so sad. Like nobody's writing happy music right now, and I like to be happy like during my day. Which I mean, I understand why they're not writing happy music, but I want to be a little bit happy. Like I want to hear about some sunshine and roses real quick. So this week, our theme of music, because me and my significant other live together, and we have 2 totally different tastes in music. So it is my pick this week, and we've been jamming out to like Disney bops, like randomly. Like we have like the whole High School Musical playlist, like for all 3 movies, plus like Frozen. Yes, I was born in 2000, and they came out in 2003. Yeah, that's on me. That's on me. Me and Zac Efron share a birthday, so he's technically my soulmate. So yeah, technically my soulmate. I mean, he don't know it, but I know it. And obviously the world knows it because our birthdays are the same. So. Yeah, Frozen 2, just old Disney bops. If you don't like the new Disney bops, because I know they trash sometimes. So right now I'm bopping out to In Summer, because it's all about how the grass is going to be warmer in summer, and like I'm not talking about this summer, I'm talking about next summer. I know y'all like, we can't go outside, so how are we supposed to enjoy summer? I know, but next summer. Yeah, keep your mask on, social distance, y'all can go outside. And listen to In Summer, like they really listen. If you actually listen to some of the songs, they actually kind of go hard. You're like, dang, Elsa,